Initially, I did not know what the show was about. I initially thought that it was a competition.
Take me back to how you and Nola meet.
Nola and I met on Twitter. The insecurities start, the jealousy, it was emotionally draining.
Baby, I'm a one woman man.
We did not even cuddle actually with Aiden. We had a big space in between us when we were sleeping. So not once, not twice, not thrice.
Where are you in your healing journey?
A bit better than I was a few months ago. A few months ago, I did not even want this show to air anymore. On that post, it was,
I don't sense any of that. I sense a very healed person. I sense someone who has processed everything that's happened and who, although hasn't arrived at a place of healing, but who is very close to that place, like someone who's really like put in the work in terms of like healing, like the internal work to just get to a better place.
Had we been paired together, we would have done the most out of it.
So, Lebo, knowing all that you know now, would you issue the ultimatum again and would you be part of this experiment?
No, I'm not about to tempt men anymore in my life.
The angels bow down at the thought of you. The darkness gives way to the light for you. The price that you pay gives us life brand new. Hosanna forever, we worship you. Hosanna forever, we worship you.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited today. I am joined by none other than the beautiful Lebo Sipapati. Lebo, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
How have things been since you shot the ultimatum? How's Lebo? How are you doing?
I'm doing quite good. The fame has been quite a lot, but yeah, apart from that, I've been doing great. I think the energy is positive, and I'm getting the love, guys. The love that I'm getting is so much. It's overwhelming.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so today we'll chat about just sort of like your experience, throughout the ultimatum experiment. But just before we get there, I was just saying to you off camera that I went through a quote by Fusita Mbekwayo, and he said that in a world of content, he felt that his job was to bring context. And that's sort of the context I want to bring for our audience in this episode to sort of get to know who Lebo is. So maybe let's start over there. So who is Ulebo? What can you tell us about yourself?
I'm Lebo from South Africa, 27 years of age, and I'm very shy, reserved. I think I'm kind and very quiet. So I love people. I love people as much as I'm quiet and shy, but I'm an easy person to get along with.
Well, that's interesting. Interesting that you see yourself as shy because okay, while I watched the Ultimatum experience, I sort of I think the word I would use for you is to say you're reserved because I felt a very like strong, very self-assured personality about you, but definitely like withheld. Do do you think that's a correct
Yeah,
assessment,
I
or would you say like you're full-blown shy?
I'm not full blown, but yeah, I am quite reserved. Yeah, I am. You're right. You're right.
Okay, cool. So, Lebo, during the ultimatum experience, you issued an ultimatum to your then partner, Nola, and you had been with him, I think, for a period of 1 year and 5 months. Is that correct?
A year and a half, yes.
A year and a half. Take me back to your thought process before applying for the competition. What was happening in your mind and just the situation between you and Nola?
Funny enough, when I signed up for the competition, for the experiment actually, I thought it was a competition. I saw it on Facebook, and I saw things about relationships. I'm like, let me just end. Then I put my details, I put his details on. Mind you, I don't even know the show. I've never watched the Ultimatum before. Then I signed up. The following day, the producer started calling us, and um, at first I wanted to actually not go through with it, but then just considering the fact that actually it's a good. After I knew about the show, and haven't watched it, and then I considered that actually this might be of good use to just know if Nola is ready to take our relationship to the next step, or do I break up with him. But initially, I did not know what the show was about. I initially thought that it was a competition.
Oh, that's crazy. Maybe also, okay, this actually should have been the first question. Take me back to how you and Nola meet. So like what's your love story?
Our love story. Nola and I met on Twitter. There's this hashtag called Umjolo with Azola. So it takes place on Sundays on X. And then back then it was Twitter. So that's how I posted my picture looking for someone, and Nola just stood out of the audience that was there interested in knowing me. And he was like, he went to the DMs and he was like, stop looking, I'm here for you. Then that's how our relationship started. And to be quite honest, it was a fun and beautiful relationship before the show. Then maybe I think then I did not know who I was dealing with. But then the show then showed me that it's not what you think it is.
Hmm. So perhaps before we get to the show, take us back. So Nola sends you a message on X and he says, "Okay, girl, stop searching. You know, I'm the one you're looking for." How do
Mm-hmm.
things then? How does he sweep you off your feet?
Yo, he's a great guy. Like his love language was what I was looking for. He was what I was looking for. And it was a very happy relationship. Apart from the flirting with girls, I did not see any signs of him cheating. I was a happy girl in the relationship, I'm not gonna lie. So it was just what I wanted and needed at that time.
Mm, 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 mm. Okay, so maybe then let's fast forward from him sort of entering your DMs, sweeping you off your feet, and to you picking up on him flirting with girls, which seems to have made you feel uncomfortable. Is that a correct assessment?
Yes.
Okay, so at what point do you notice that, hey, this guy, he's a flirt and I'm uncomfortable with this?
Um, so he'd do it randomly, and I'd be like, nah, maybe he's just a nice guy. You know, some guys are actually naturally just nice. They'll just make conversations with people, random strangers that they don't know. And then it got to a point where I think we're at the shopping center. Then he's like, thank you, sweetheart, to the cashier. I'm like, no, that
Hey, that's
sounds
sweetheart.
like
That's sweetheart.
yeah, that's sweetheart. I'm like, okay, like, no, you don't do that, especially if I'm present. If you're just naturally a nice guy that does that. And it made me feel like there's no significance if he calls me with pet names, because he calls everyone with pet names. So I was like, no, dude, you have to change. Then gradually he'd stop, but when it's a habit, at some point you forget. Then he'll start flirting again, like, hi, sweetheart, how are you? Or thank you, sweetheart, just to random girls.
Did he seem to make an effort to tone it down with the flirting, or was it just a thing of like, all right, okay, Lebo, but then like, did you see an effort? Did you see him make an effort to change, or was it just lip service?
Uh, I think he did try to make an effort, as much as you can't expect someone to change overnight. So yes, I think I had picked it up a few months prior to us going to the show. So that's why it was the main concern that actually, I've noticed that you flirt a lot. And I was just giving him that chance to change. He did try. Most of the times he would not call people pet names, but at some point he'd forget. Or just on social media, he'd just then address ladies as babe and all that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So then fast forward to you, you've done the application, you've put your name on, you've put his name on. You then have a conversation or you're telling him, hey, Nola, we're going on this show. How does that conversation look like?
So he knew from the day I actually applied, thinking that it's a competition. I told him, "Oh, this is the competition," and he knew. I think the following day, it was actually his birthday. That's when they called us for the interviews, and I'm like, "Hi, I don't know how I feel about this, but let's just enter." In my mind, I was thinking that we're not gonna make it anyway, so let's just try. Then he agreed to it. We went on with the interviews. He was keen. And after the interviews, they advised us to watch the American version of the show. Then we watched the show. I'm like, dude, are you sure you want to do this? It's like, no, I want to do this. I think, yeah, that was the process. He was keen. He knew what he was putting himself into. It's not like he did not know.
Mm, 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 mm. Gotcha. And day one for you at the Ultimatum experience, how does that look like? Because, okay, maybe just for our audience, just to sort of like rope those in who haven't watched the Ultimatum experience, it's an experiment where 6 couples come to the show. And in the first week, the couples are all sort of mingling together. You sort of enter into a trial marriage with other partners for 3 weeks. At the end of that 3 weeks, you then come together with your original partner for a second trial marriage to sort of then decide if you are marrying this person, going home with another person, or completely separating. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So Lebo, this is week one. You get to the experiment. How is that for you? How is that like?
The first date was, I think reality had not sunk in that actually we're doing this. And the first night we were there, the entire day we were together, um, preparing for the night where we meet the other couples. Then reality kicked in when they actually told us that actually this is your last day together, as it happens fairly on the show. So they tell you guys that actually this is your last night together. You have to make the most of it. This is for like the entire 7 weeks that's coming. And this is the longest time we've ever been apart from each other, because the longest would be like 5 days, 4 days, because we're together almost every weekend. So reality sinks in, then it gets emotionally draining. This person has to leave the following day in the mornings. Like the night before we shot, I think close to midnight. So you only have literally a few hours left before you guys separate. Then the following morning, you separate. He goes to his own hotel. I go to my own hotel room. This is for the week, so that we just have the speed datings and all that. That was also emotionally draining. That's when you see him, but you can't talk to him. Like the insecurities start, the jealousy, it was emotionally draining. But I think with the first trial marriage, for me, it was quite difficult because I went there with the mission that actually I wanted to fix my relationship, and he's living right next door. When I go outside our balcony, I could literally see him enjoying. And yeah, I think before the news broke, but yeah, I think for me personally, this show helped me in, um, I think, being able to articulate myself even better, because I was reserved, shy, and I'd avoid speaking a lot. I would not put words to how I feel about things. But I learned that. But yeah, the first week was hectic. It
Okay.
was hectic.
Yeah, that I can. So as you're speaking, I'm actually taken back to the first conversation you had with Nola, and I remember it was, I think, slightly emotional. I think especially for you more than it was for him. And I remember his words, trying to assure you and saying, I'm
Hey,
doing this in the best Nola voice I can, you know. Oh baby, I'm a one woman man.
hey, those were his words. Yeah.
Hey,
Only to
hey.
find out that no, he's not actually a one woman man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's week one. Take me into week two. So you are, in fact, before we get to your pairing with Aiden,
Mm-hmm.
uh during the dinner table where you are having to choose your trial marriage partner for the first 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
you chose Isaac, but Isaac turned down that proposal. How was that for you?
Um, I think going into the show itself, the whole point is to fix your issues with your current partner. So for me, it was not. I think that was it was a very wise move for him to do, because at the end, everyone had the choice to either accept or decline. I'm not sure if you saw the comment where Kanye was actually voicing out that people were not honest about their choices. So people would just accept for the fact of just not not wanting to disappoint the other partner. But Isaac was sticking to his choice, which was Kanya, and I still applaud him for that because he's the only person that was real with his choice. There were other couples that just agreed just for the sake of avoiding disappointing the other person. But for me, it was not that deep. It was just something that needed to happen. And for Isaac standing on his ground about his choice was big ups for me. So
Mm,
it was
mm.
not personal.
Gotcha, gotcha. Oh wow, wow. I think that's a very mature perspective to take on, to just realize that listen, I actually appreciate the fact that this man was honest as opposed to just accepting the trial marriage for the sake of, not
Yeah.
hurting my feelings.
And my feelings were not at all.
Oh, your feelings were not hurt at all. Oh wow, wow. Because you just understood that it was a trial marriage, so no hard feelings.
No hard feelings, yes.
Okay, here's actually a burning question that I have.
Okay.
From my perspective as a viewer watching the show, it seemed like both you and Aiden had very clear goals going into the show, and your goals were, I want to improve myself for the relationship, for my current relationship, as opposed to, because a lot of the sort of participants were like, you know what, I'm gonna live in the moment, I'll
Yeah.
enjoy the experience. But it seemed like you and Aiden were very calculated. Is that something you had decided beforehand to say, listen, I'm not going to be invested in another person, but I just want to go through this experience to sort of ascertain and sort of better my relationship?
I think Aiden and I actually we're not physically or emotionally attracted to each other in that way. I think with the other couples, they were free to just do whatever because there was some sort of emotions or attraction towards them. But with us, yes, we went in with the motive of bettering ourselves for our relationships, but also I think the physical or emotional connection. Okay, there was an emotional connection actually, by the way, but there was no physical attraction. I think had I been paired with someone else I find attractive, I would have done, maybe I would have explored something else.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So it wasn't really
So
planned that
you
I,
perfect. Gotcha. So on that fateful night, you and Aiden sort of decide to go sneak into other people's villas. And you happen to sort of find Ruth and Nola. You sort of said holding hands, but to us as the viewers, it seemed like there was much more than just holding hands. They seemed to be in bed cuddling. Take me back to that night.
so that night we just decided we were bored and we decided let's just do something fun and just be kids for the night and do something that you know you're not supposed to be doing, but let's do it anyway. So we went to the villas and we're sneaking on all the couples, and people were enjoying, having fun. And I got stuck into Nola and Roth's villa. And then when I got there, they were holding hands. Yes, to the viewers, it seemed like a lot was happening already, but I did not know. When I got to the balcony, I saw them holding hands, which um, I then snapped, because then I felt that it was some sort of betrayal. He's not supposed to be touching her like that. Yeah, that's what happened. I felt like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, we hardly even cuddle with we did not even cuddle actually with Aiden. We had a big space in between us when we were sleeping. So I expected that from him as well. But what I saw was actually
Hey.
something
Mm, mm. And was that the first time something like that had happened
in my relationship.
in your relationship? Yes. So, like Nola holding hands with another woman or anything to that effect.
Yeah, that was the first actually, because I've never seen him with another girl. So he's always with me. As much as he flirts, he'd never touch a girl inappropriately around me or do some funny things. So it was the first time for me seeing him close to a woman like that.
Yo, and then okay, so like obviously, like for us as the audience, and I especially imagine for you, like that was very shocking. But what
Yeah.
then happens next is you're having a ladies' night. It's fun. Ruth pulls you aside, and she makes a confession to you. That must have been heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was. I think at that moment, I think she did try to say it during the girls' night, but I wasn't really paying attention because she would say that they kiss a lot, and I just ignored it because then I don't want to confront her about the things that she was doing with my man. Then I just wanted to confront Nola. So she saw that I was not paying attention to the hints that she was trying to tell me. Then she asked for me to stay behind, and then she broke the news to me. And at that point, I think I was still in shock. That's why I went to ask Nola that is she telling the truth, because it was very unbelievable to me that in such a short space of time, you're already getting that comfortable to sleeping with a person, not once, not twice, not thrice, at least once, but so many times. It means that you've been comfortable. So it only sunk in that I was hurt after confronting him. That's where then the betrayal started kicking in, the dishonesty, the lies. So yeah, at that point, I think I was just numb. I was not feeling anything. I just wanted the truth.
Lebo, when I look at your Instagram, I think a couple of weeks ago, you had posted a meme with a Netflix logo with those words, not once, not twice, not thrice. And to someone looking at the meme, it seems like you're a healed person who's sort of just making light of the situation and what happened. Where are you in your healing process? Are you healed from that hurt? I- What's or is it just a post, nothing to be taken seriously? Like should we not read anything from your Instagram posts? Where are you in your healing journey?
I think the best way to get over things is laughing things off. Because if I'm gonna be emotional about things like that, I'm gonna stay hurt for the longest time. Unlike just laughing about it, accepting that it has happened. I think if I accept that it has happened, it's gonna make it easier for everyone else not to feel pity for me or feel bad when they see me about what happened. So I am still in the healing process. I wouldn't say I've completely healed, but I'm still in the healing process, which is looking so much great and a bit better than I was a few months ago. a few months ago, I did not even want this show to air anymore because I felt like I'm gonna be embarrassed. Everyone is gonna look at me and see me as a person that was cheated on live TV, and the whole world knows about it. But the only way to just be in a better space is to just laugh it off, because at the end of the day, it happens to everyone. It's a pity that it happened to me on Netflix, but it happens. It's a daily thing that everyone faces.
That's true. That's true. So, as you're speaking, sort of, I'm wondering about the timelines. So, when does the recording happen? Um, when is the series aired? So, when is it aired? When does the reunion happen? So, like, I'm trying to figure out the timelines and how much time you've had in between everything happening to just sort of like digest everything and sort of process all that has been happening.
Okay, so the show was shot last year, Feb till March. And then I broke up with Nola. The first breakup that we had was in March when we left the show. Then we started trying fixing things. This was in April, if not May last year. So during that process, yes, I think that's where my healing started. That, okay, this is gonna air at the end of the day. It might not be now, but it's gonna air. That's where I started learning to be at peace with the fact that it has happened. I can't take it away. I can't go back and turn back the hands of time and correct the things that he has done that I don't want the public to see. And then we get to the reunion where it was shot early April this year.
So, more
So
than a year after.
yes, more than a year after.
Uh, Speaking about the reunion, so I spoke with a friend of mine. This is actually the friend that told me about the show. She's a lady from Jamaica. She's like, oh, uh, I, okay, I can't channel my Jamaican accent. I wanted to try, but it's just it's not there now. But she basically said, "Hey, you need to watch the reunion, the Ultimatum South Africa. It's amazing. It's amazing." So she actually put me onto the show. So I told her, I said, "Hey, I might be having a chat with Lebo," and she's like, "Whatever you do, please, please, please ask Lebo this question for me."
Mm-hmm.
So this friend of mine, Jada, she would like to know. You decided, so after the episodes that aired, you sort of broke off with Nola, but then you gave him a chance. You tried to work things out, but then you waited until the reunion to sort of break things off. And I think you can sort of just see where this question is going. So was that calculated, or did that just feel right in the moment to do it at the reunion?
So this is what happened. I know as the viewer, you see things happening and you think that it actually happened. So what happened is that, remember, we shot the show and then the reunion was only shot this year in April. So we only got to see the show in April, the day before we shot the reunion. So yes, as much as I forgave him then, I did not see how everything turned out. I did not see how he was acting. As much as he told me, oh, the news broke that they had sex and that, but I did not see the visuals of it. So I did not see how everything transpired, how he was acting, how he was free, how he seemed so happy, and all that. So that's the reason why I then decided to break things off with him, because I had just saw the video. I mean the whole show. So all the explanations that he had told me a year ago did not match what I saw. So that's why I felt the need to break up with him, because I had felt that he still lies, because he had an entire year to tell me that, okay, this is what you should expect. This is how I acted. So that on the reunion, or on the reunion when we see the show, I'm not shocked. So I was shocked at the fact that he did not tell me everything that happened.
I'm shocked as you're telling me that he didn't tell you.
No, he didn't. He just apologized for sleeping with Ruth and all that, but he did not tell me all the details. I think I expected the details so that I can be at peace with what am I forgiving. So I wasn't clear about what I was forgiving at that point. That's why then I broke things off with him because he continued with the lies.
I think it's actually on that same post, the meme that you posted about not once, twice, or thrice. I think your caption was second to God, fear Nola.
Yes. No, on that post it was yaphela kanjalo indaba yami noRabeleng, but the
No,
savannah.
Raven. Oh, Lebo. Oh, this is such a fun chat. I think, yeah, like as I'm speaking to you, honestly, I obviously like you have a certain, you imagine how a conversation will go, and honestly, I imagined that I would be speaking to someone who is slightly resentful, perhaps for what happened, perhaps someone who is still slightly hurt, angered, enraged. But as I'm
No,
speaking to you, I don't sense any of that. I sense a very healed person. I sense a very I sense someone who has processed everything that's happened, and
mhm,
who, although hasn't arrived at a place of healing, but who is very close to that place. Like someone who's really like put in the work in terms of like healing, like the internal work to just get to a better place.
true. That's where I'm at. Mhm.
What's your healing journey looked like? So for someone who may have gone through a similar experience, who's looking to learn how to heal, perhaps like what did your healing journey look like?
My healing journey was quite a tricky one. I think for a lot of people, healing looks like just cutting ties with that person at that point, when you feel the betrayal or when you find the news. But with me, it was my healing journey was going back to him and learning to just unlove him and just detaching myself while I'm with him, because it's then easier to exit when you've learned to just remove yourself. Because with me, I think in my past relationships, I've been that person that just, if you've cheated or done anything wrong to me, I'll block you, delete you, and just move on. But with this one, it was quite tricky. I had to go back, see him do the things that he does, see him continuously lie, and just learn to just not feel anything for him anymore. As much as now people might still see us together, and I'm not even in love with the guy anymore. Even people that has experienced the love that we had, they see now that actually Lebo is not in love with him anymore, because at some point I'd always be blushing when he's around or want that touch. But now I'm like, okay, this is business. Let's keep it professional. And that's me. I had to just detach, learn to detach, because I detached with him while I was still in the relationship. And when I was ready to exit, that's when I broke things off with him. This is a year later after the betrayal. So it took me a year and it was very difficult. At some point, I'd cry that, why are you still here? You know that you're not supposed to be here. But I think that was my journey to go through that.
How frequently? So did I understand you correctly in saying that you still work together in business?
Ye- Yes, so we have a business together. We're currently trying to find ways on how um, we cannot have contact with each other because the business is quite small. Financially, we can't afford to have another person representing either of us when we have to be in business. So yeah.
I'm proud of your healing journey and how you've sort of gone about it. Also, I'm proud of the fact that you're like, so sometimes society puts pressure on us to say, oh, this person did this to you. And I'm sure there must have been like a lot of pressure from family and friends as well to say, he cheated on you. Leave that man, don't go back, or don't even like cut all ties, don't do business with him. But for you to just have the self-awareness to know that, okay, uh, this is what your journey needs to look like, and your healing process is not going to look the same as that of another person, and just to be true to your journey and your healing process, I think is commendable.
I think up until you get to a certain situation, you only view it from the outside. I always say that being in toxic relationships is the same as actually being in an abusive relationship is more of a toxic relationship, because at the end of the day, you might tell another person to leave, but they'll only they'll only leave up until if their heart has, like, if they are fed up about the other person's actions. So it's easy for one to say that leave at this moment, but that's not how life works. I think you have to go through the healing process. I think healing processes for everyone else is different. So yeah, that's how I had to heal. And yes, I had a lot of judgments that Lebo, he's still with this guy. And people won't understand. But yeah, eventually I left.
And are you still separated, or just for clarity? I'm getting the sense that you are, but are you separated now?
We are
Oh,
separated.
okay,
Definitely. Yeah.
okay, okay. Okay. Another fun one. I saw you were on a live together with Isaac,
Mm-hmm.
and I know a lot of people on social media, on X or Twitter or whatever people want to call it, have just been saying, Lebo, Isaac, why don't you guys get together? Because for us as viewers, you guys seem so compatible. Isaac is just a solid guy. You're a solid, beautiful, intelligent woman. And in our eyes, we're like, you guys make sense.
Yeah,
How
I
do
think
things look from your perspective?
Isaac is a decent guy, but ish, I wouldn't want. Let's say Isaac and I met outside of the show. Yes, he's someone that I date, but because of what happened on the show, I feel uncomfortable in putting myself in that situation that I'm only dating him because that's what people will think. Yes, as much as we are compatible, yes, I'm not gonna lie about that. Had we been paired together, we would have done the most out of it. But I don't want to date Isaac because the world wants me to do that. It has to be genuine. And I feel like if I were to date him now, it would be a thing that to other people, it's going to look like I'm trying to revenge to Nola. So that's not how I roll. If it happens genuinely, so maybe in a few years to come or whatever happens, then it might happen. But currently, no, I think as much as we are good friends, by the way. So I wouldn't want to ruin the friendship and trying a relationship that I know that it's not going to work out, because at the end of the day, I'm going to feel like I'm betraying other people being in that relationship. So I don't want to feel like that.
Mm, mm, mm. No, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So, Lebo, knowing all that you know now, would you issue the ultimatum again, and would you be part of this experiment?
No, I wouldn't. I know I'm not about to tempt men anymore in my life. That's a very wrong move. I'd advise, like, okay, if you are sure about your person and you've put them in other tests before, then you can do it. But for me personally, no, I'd never do it.
Never do it. Once is enough. We've learned our lesson. Never.
Never. I'm not learning adult lessons again. That one, it was a very big lesson for me.
Awesome. Okay. So you and Aiden, you seemed to have developed a good friendship. Are you guys still friends, or did that sort of end with the experiment?
Uh, we're still friends, but we don't talk much anymore. I think he's engaged now. Sometimes it gets like when you're in a committed relationship, there's some friendships that you wouldn't want to prolong, or like I think from his end, and he's not so much of a social person. as much as you try to meet up, he's not that type of guy that, no, let's go out for drinks. I think I'm also that girl that doesn't like going out, meeting people and all that. So, but we are good friends. We're still friends, but we're not as close as we were from the show.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, as we prepare to wrap it up, Lebo, I do have a couple of questions. So on Instagram, I posted yesterday. I'm like, hey, I'm having an interview with Lebo. You know, do you guys have a couple of questions you'd like to send through? And a couple of people sent questions. Would you mind if we took maybe 3 or 4 questions from those
That's
individuals?
that's
Is
fine.
that good? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna just pull out my phone quickly. Okay. Maybe let's start with the Rebel. Okay, so some of these I think we might have already touched on as we had the conversation. So the first question is, what made you return to NOLA in the first place? Do you want to elaborate? I think you had answered that, but is there something you'd like to say to that?
So I went back to him, number one, because he was continuously apologizing, trying to change, and he gave up other deals of working abroad. And I saw a bit of effort when it came to him trying to make things work with me. That's one reason. And then the second one is it was just, when you end things on a high note, you get to think back and be like, at the end of the day, we did not talk about boundaries. Maybe I should have told him that these are the boundaries. Don't kiss, don't touch, don't do this. So that was the second reason why. And the third reason, I think, that was the end goal, to just learn to know him for who he is after the show. So he still continued being a flirt. He still continued with the miscommunication, the cheating, and all that. So yeah, I think I needed to get the closure, because at that high note there was no closure at all.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, question number 2. What did your friends and sisters or brothers say when you decided to give NOLA another chance?
Okay, I got a lot of judgment that, why are you going back? Why are you doing this? But I think people did not understand my mission. And as much as, yes, I think there are mistakes that are forgivable, as much as I was willing to forgive him after what he did, because at the end of the day, Nola is a great guy. Like I wouldn't say taking away the cheating. He's a like his love language is what I wanted. The way he treats me, the way he does things for me, the way he's there for me more than anyone else would be. He's available, emotionally available. But yeah, I don't know if I answered that.
Gotcha. No, perfectly. You've answered perfectly. Perfectly. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know you've definitely spoken to this one. Okay, but I'll read it out anyways. It says, why can't you give Isaac a chance? Because I think they have the same mindset when it comes to relationships.
Yeah, maybe in the next future, or maybe if I feel like it's the right time to try things with Isaac. But yeah, but currently I feel like everyone now wants this, and if we're gonna force it to work because of the people, then it's not gonna work. And also, he's in a relationship, guys. I don't break people's relationships.
Ah, yes, yes. Yeah, he did say that on the reunion that he was working, like something had started. Okay, 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 that's fair. No, but I love that. I love the fact that, because hey, at the end of the day, like you can't make personal decisions based on pressures from us. Who are we? We are society. At the end of the day, when you deal with the ramifications of decisions that we impose on you, we're not there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'd be there alone, facing someone that I don't even know if he shows me his true colors that you guys don't know,
Ne,
or the
ne.
other way. What if I'm toxic? I'm too toxic for him. What if I'm too good to be true?
Okay. Yes, Lebo, you seem like you're this just honorable woman. God, maybe you're the
And
toxic one.
they don't know.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions from Mu. Okay, very similar. Okay, so why did you go back? I think you've already answered that. Are you back with Nola now?
No, I'm not. No,
Okay.
never.
Okay, and then this. Okay, the final question is: were you ever attracted to Aiden?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Yeah, no. Was Aiden ever attracted to you?
I don't think so. I don't
Mm,
think so.
mm, mm, mm.
Remember, Aiden also decided to then accept my proposal because I had just been rejected. So initially, Aiden was attracted to Tabby.
You know what I thought though? I felt Aiden came with a very clear mandate because there were two questions he repeated as we watched the series or the show. He said he kept asking. I think he asked Tabby, and I think he also asked you during the dinner table where you were choosing partners, trial marriage partners. He said, "Will you call me out on things that you think I need to fix?" So he
Mm-hmm.
seemed like he was very clear in that he wants to go on the show so that he could learn his blind spots and areas of improvement, become better for his partner. Would you say that's
That is
correct?
because Tabby and I were his options because of the answers that we gave with the question that he had. That are we gonna call him out? And that's what I did. I called him out. I told him, like, I think there was a lot of emotional growth that we posed to to each other during our trial marriage. Apart from being just friends, we had serious conversations. It's a pity that they did not show that on screen, but we had serious conversations where we advising each other about our bad habits or our personal traits that are actually really toxic. So that's
Gotcha,
what
gotcha.
his first option was Tabby, then I was the second option.
Gotcha. Yo, okay, question. Lemon, I promise this is the last one, just to like close it off.
Okay.
Um, this is completely going off on a tangent, but like, what were your thoughts on who's this Kanya?
I had honestly so Kanya and I, okay, we were not friends, but we never had any issues with each other. I think she's a straightforward person. As much as yes, she tried to attack Caesar at any given point that she got, any chance that she got was to attack Caesar, which was uncalled for. It was wrong. But apart from her attacking Caesar, she's a good woman. I'm not gonna lie. Even at the reunion we spoke, she's a good woman. I think sometimes you just act a certain. I think I could have acted the same way towards Ruth because at some point, because I'm reserved and I'm not mean, and I'm not one to confront someone at that point. There's a lot of things that I felt that no, when Ruth said this, it actually should have called her out and said this and this and that. And she's that person that just acts on how she's feeling at that point. And with me, I think before I say something. With her, I think that she did not consider what she was saying to the other person. But I don't think that's who she is. I think she's quite a nice girl to be around. I mean, I don't have any bad experiences with her, honestly.
Mm,
And
mm,
I'm not speaking
gotcha.
from a place where I was not the one attacked, but yeah,
Mm,
just judging from my experience with her. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, I think that's a very like unique, very compassionate perspective to take. Because like, I mean, a couple of people have obviously been speaking on social media, and everyone is just like in attack mode when it comes to Kanya. And I think you're one of the first people who actually is like, whoa, guys, let's take a step back. Actually, I interacted with this person. outside of what you saw on the show, she's actually a human being, you know?
She is. I think
Um,
she acts more when she's angry and she can articulate her anger or whatever that she's feeling at that point. Unlike
mm,
me, I
mm,
keep quiet and think, okay, what am I going to do next? What do I say?
mm,
So we
mm,
react differently. So I think that how she reacted is her own way of
mm,
how to deal with things. As much as yes, it's not right, I don't
mm.
I don't support the way she handled things.
I hear you. I hear you. And I mean, also, I guess as viewers, we also need to be cognizant of the fact that producers will 90% out of the time, go for the drama, the thing that'll,
Exactly. Hence, I'm saying Aiden
mm,
and I had really great time to a really a great time together, but that was not shown, and
mm,
all the drama instead was shown, but the good
mm,
parts of it was not shown.
we're not sure.
And it's that production only wants the drama; they want content. They don't want
Content
the
over context.
yeah.
Mm. Yo, Lebo, thank you so, so much for this chat. It genuinely felt like talking to a friend. I'm well aware that this is a small channel. It started, what, 3 months ago. So it's a very small podcast. So for you to give me the like a chance, it means so much to me. So I'm very, very grateful. Thank
Of
you
the
so
show.
much for this interview.
I'm the friend of the show.
Oh,
We have other chats. We'll have what is Lebu doing, or you know, I think there's bigger things that on the background. Maybe in future I'll come back with a review that this is what Lebu has been going through. You understand? So yeah, it doesn't end here. And thank you for having.
amazing. Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Lebo. I had so much respect for you just watching you on the show. But after having this conversation with you, literally it's now 10x. You're such an amazing human being. You're kind, you're intelligent, you're present is I think something that has stood out for me during this interview. Like I note how present you are. Like with each question, you literally wait for the full stop and you answer very intentionally. So I'm very grateful to have connected with you in this way. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed myself as well. It did not feel awkward at any point. Yeah.
That's always my goal for my guests to be comfortable.
Thank you.
Okay. Maybe let's say goodbye to everyone. Okay, so from us, Lebo and Lunga, we're signing off. Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.